It is a good time to be a Mortal Kombat fan because NRS just announced their new title, Mortal Kombat 1. We got the reveal date, but what's even more important is that we got the first real gameplay footage of the game. And since we know that you don't want to watch a video for 5 hours and watch every single interaction where people try to figure out how to press some buttons, we did all the work for you. We watched the entire footage. And in this video, we're going to cover the most important aspects and some very big surprises we found in said footage. So if you want to stay up to date with all the MK1 news, feel free to subscribe to this channel because we at Rips Arena are currently the biggest tournament organizer for Mortal Kombat games, covering more than 2,000 people in our Discord and paid out more than $60,000 in prize money in the last year alone. So if you like what we do, feel free to bless us and have fun with this video. Okay guys, but before we start talking about all the interesting details, we found out, first of all, a warm welcome here to my good friend RoboCop, owner of Test Your Might. Robo, thanks for being here, and we have some interesting things to cover.
Yeah, for sure, Rip. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be talking about MK1, finally.
I was about to say, Test Your Might, I heard a lot of people are already starting to talk about the details of the game. I mean, so much footage dropped the last days, right?
It did, yep, and we've got people, I mean, they're just combing through every second of footage they can get their hands on and just breaking down, I mean, every detail they can find.
Yeah. So, Robo, after, reviewing the entire game footage for hours, what do you think is the most important aspect of the Cameo system in general?
I think it's kind of hard to narrow it down to the most important because the Cameo, I mean, it's going to affect every aspect of gameplay. Have you ever played a versus game, Rip, like Marvel vs. Capcom?
Not yet. Not yet. A lot of people talked about it, though. So I'm happy that I have you here on the mic because, Robo, you played a lot of fighting games.
I had. That's actually the very first tournament I ever won was Marvel vs. Capcom. All right. And so this is kind of I think the perfect demonstration of what you can do with cameos. So, in a versus game, you pick 3 characters and you can press the button to like tag between them, which you can't do in Mortal Kombat. You can't actually tag out to another character. You can just call out an assist, right? And so that's part of Marvel vs. Capcom. So in this tournament, I'm playing Hulk, who doesn't really have any mix. He's just a big brute. He hits hard, and that's about it. But one of my cameos, or one of my assists, is Sentinel. So I press the button, Sentinel pops out, and he puts these really slow moving drones onto the screen, right? So they're kind of moving across. So as Hulk, I pop out, and I stay in front of the drones, and I come out, and I do my little strings that, again, don't really have any mix. But whether it hits or gets blocked doesn't matter because I've got those drone assists following me. So once I do my thing, the drones hit, and then I'm able to either back off or keep comboing or whatever I want to do, right? And that's what we're going to see in this Mortal Kombat cameo system, is there's actually a slight delay when you press the cameo button. And so you can actually press cameo while you're in the middle of a block string or while you're jumping or while you're doing any of these other things. And it gets your cameo out onto the screen and can really help, again, like you were saying, with combo damage or in the neutral game or setting up traps or anything. We've only seen, 3 cameos?
Yep, that's right.
Know not only are there going to be a ton of cameos, but any main cast member can also be a cameo.
Yep.
So just with what we've seen right now, I'm excited about what we haven't seen as far as what kinds of cameos there's going to be, that kind of thing.
Yes, because so far, a lot of complaints back then about the variation system in Mortal Kombat 11, and I like that NRS is really trying to learn from past mistakes, right? That means what we have seen in the gameplay footage so far, what's quite interesting is that cameos, you have to use them very, very carefully, because first of all, they have their own meter management, right? Meter itself doesn't regenerate anymore. The cameo one does, if I've seen it correctly, but your main meter doesn't. So it's a very important tool, and you can use them in different ways. So in a way, maybe in the new game, you don't have to switch your main character anymore in certain bad matchups. You can just switch the cameo fight up. For example, we saw Jax having a very solid unblockable, which hits your own character as well. If you not think
Right.
about it, you can use them as a grappler, so to say, where he has a throw which can be amplified for unbreakable damage. We saw Kano in the trailer, in the gameplay footage as well, with an insane projectile. Imagine all the MK11 players who main a character with very weak zoning, but now they have access to that Cameo fighter in the back, which can basically make up for it. And so you can turn certain matchups around, have a better chance at winning. But at the same time, you have to be careful with it, because another thing we saw, what I like a lot, is that Cameo characters have their own hurt box. You can hit them out of the interaction, and then the little screen gets blacked out, and you can't use them anymore. And seeing how important they are, right, that is a big disadvantage.
It is. Well, and you take damage. You share a health bar with your Cameo. So if your Cameo gets tagged, you take that damage.
Yep, that is right.
So yeah, it's not just like a get out of jail free. It's not a free mechanic. You got to be smart with it. You got to time it well.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
as a summary, we can really say that I'm looking forward to how the entire Cameo system is going to be implemented after day one. But what we saw so far, I think it adds a lot of depth to the game. And I can't wait to see it used in all kind of official tournaments, especially when there's money on the line. Let's see which Cameo fighter might be the best. I can't wait for it. Maybe we even get a specific Cameo tier list in the end. It's going to be good.
Oh, there's already one on Test Your Mind.
But Robo, you sent me a message that you saw something interesting with the Cameo system as well. Do you want to talk about it? What did you find out?
Sure, and apologies in advance if any of this ends up being incorrect, because everyone's just kind of combing over the footage and determining what they see. So a few of the things that we've seen so far with Cameos are they can be canceled or charged, and so this is going to add some dirt to characters who may not have dirt, like a pretty straightforward character, pop on a Cameo that has, Cameo cancels or whatever, and now you've got some kind of mix to throw into the game. So I'm excited about that. There's also supposedly invincible Cameo wake-ups. Again, we can't stress this enough. The Cameo system is integrated basically in every aspect of Mortal Kombat 1. So that includes combos, wake-ups, everything. So there's supposedly invincible Cameo wake-ups. Let's see, and throws. Your forward throw is a Cameo throw, and if your Cameo is on cooldown when you try to do the throw, your character does like this weird little push that keeps the opponent standing. I'm not positive if you're at frame advantage or not. I would assume that you are. But yeah, so yeah, Cameo's integral to every aspect, from throws to get ups to combos to neutral to just every aspect of the game.
So, Robo, but of course, one of the biggest complaints of the community for years now is the combo potential in Mortal Kombat 11. And apparently NRS said, you know what, let's fix it, because you can use your Cameo fighters mid-air to extend combos. We saw some crazy stuff from Sonic Fox already, and it's gonna be a good thing. But seeing some technical details in the gameplay footage we just reviewed, for example, flawless blocks coming back. Apparently no more flawless block attacks, just to neglect chip damage. We saw Last Breath coming back. Robo, you saw something interesting about the Last Breath as well, right?
Sure. Supposedly it uses your super meter now. Like in MK11, you've got your 2 bars of meter, and if you block an attack with no health, it uses one of those bars. Now, apparently, it uses your super meter.
That is right. And maybe for a reason, because the super meter is still self-regenerating, what we saw so far, right? Your regular meter isn't. So that might be the case. Another thing, speaking about meters here, what we saw in the gameplay footage is first hit bonus is back, and it might be way more important than we think. Seeing you have no regenerating bar anymore for your amplifying your attacks, and then getting that first hit in and going into the rest of the match with an advantage in resources could be huge, Robo.
Yeah, especially if you're not a zoner. In these, NetherRealm Studios games where you build meter by attacking your opponent and getting hit and everything, it's always kind of an inherent bonus to zoners because they're just standing back. They're getting meter every time they throw out a projectile. Meanwhile, the melee character is having to like work their way in. They're not building up any meter. So getting that first hit bonus is going to be huge for a lot of the cast.
Yeah, that's right. But to end it all off here, one of the most interesting things, and not a lot of people realized actually, but you did, Robo, because you immediately sent me a message about it. There is something different in the way combos work in MK1 compared to MK11. Do you want to tell us what it is, Robo?
I would love to tell you about it, Rib. So this is maybe one of the biggest changes on par with the Cameo system, really. So yeah, you never played Mortal Kombat 9, but back then we had characters that had like traps and resets and thing. One of those was Cyrax, and he could do these. I mean, he literally 120% damage combos just with these like resets and way he would keep leaving you in a trap situation that you couldn't get out of. And I think it was because of this character that we saw like in Mortal Kombat X and in Mortal Kombat 11. They really kind of limited that kind of thing, like the traps and the resets and that kind of thing, especially Mortal Kombat 11. And we got characters like Sub-Zero. He freezes you, right? And if you try to free someone again, they just fall out of it. So NetherRealm is really scared to let you do a lot of this stuff. Well, not the case in Mortal Kombat 1. As long as you have the resources, you can keep doing whatever your character can do over and over and over. You can freeze someone multiple times. You can keep someone locked down in traps multiple times. As long as you have the resources, you can keep doing it. So they've removed a lot of those kind of combo and setup restrictions, which I'm really excited about.
Yes, and I think the entire community is. It's going to be a great time. One last thing, and that, for me personally, is one of the most important things we saw in the gameplay footage, but not a lot of people immediately realized it. Pokes apparently are punishable now in MK1. And guys, even if you think, yeah, okay, but that is not a big thing, it actually is, because it changed the entire meta of the game. MK11, a lot of people hate the game because it is so poke heavy. I mean, all the MK11 players out there, how much fun is it to play versus Kung Lao and eat like 23 low kicks in a row, right? And with MK1, that might change because we have footage of a poke and the frame data being -9. And that means, Robo, there is no button mashing anymore, apparently. You really have to think about, or you have to find a way to make your poke safe, potentially even with a cameo assist, with a special move, something like that. And I like that a lot because it adds more depth to the game. You have to think about what you're doing, and so you don't see these boring interactions anymore.
Down one.
Poke into poke into poke into poke. It is gonna be way more neutral, focus heavy, especially having the meter management in the back now and the way Breaker works on top. If you just throw a poke out and it actually is going to be punishable on block, then you lose all your resources just for a single down one. Just because you wanted to press that poke button. So I can't wait to see how this is going to turn out in game. But guys, that is for us. Of course, we could keep talking about this for a few more hours.
Talk for hours, Rip.
But I think for this video, this is going to be the conclusion. The most important things we found out in the gameplay footage after we reviewed it for hours. So if you want to stay up to date with MK1 news and you like the format, please tell us in the comments and don't feel to press the subscribe button. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a great one.